Welcome into 76ers Now. I am Jake Chipper, filling in here for Chase Sr., who is on vacation. So over the next week or so, you'll be seeing a lot more of me here on the channel. And on today's show, going to be taking a look at some different combinations that Nick Nurse can use in the 76ers rotation this season. Obviously, a brand new rebuilt roster for the Sixers. So we're going to take a look at what the starting five might be, what the bench unit might look like, and also some other roster combinations, lineup combinations that we could see on the court for the Sixers this upcoming season. First, guys, we got challenged by the folks and my good friend Nick Roloff over at the Heat Report. They said there is no chance that we can get to 19,000 subscribers on this video. We're just about 37 subs away, and I know we can get there. Sixers fans, gotta lock us in here on the channel. We've been providing you with news, rumors, analysis, everything you've needed over this past offseason, and we're going to keep it going the rest of the year. Videos nearly every day, year-round. So help us out. Let's prove the Heat Report wrong. Lock us in and subscribe today. So let's get started here. This is what I believe the starting five should be and will be for the 76ers this upcoming season. Obviously, you have your three staples, right? Tyrese Maxey at the 1, Joel Embiid at the 5, Paul George at the 3. Those three, no question, are going to be three of your starters. Then at the 2, I have Kelly Oubre, not your typical 2 guard, but I think with his skill set, his length defensively, and his ability to, get his own shot offensively, he makes sense at the 2. And I have Kenyon Martin sliding in at the 4. Of course, the Sixers signed him away from the Heat this offseason. And I think this is easily your best 5, not only collection of players, but I think it's the 5 that make the most sense together as a starting unit. Now, who's going to be starting at that power forward? That's a big, big question that Sixers fans have been asking this whole offseason because Kenyon Martin, not a real traditional power forward. Now, you could say Oubre could start at the 4. Paul George could start at the 4. It doesn't really matter who you have slotted in at that 4 position. Any 3 of them could technically be the 4, but they are going to be undersized when they're rolling that lineup out there. And that is a big concern for Sixers fans because we saw in the playoffs last year against the Knicks, they got out-rebounded like crazy, right? Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, those guys in the Knicks were out-hustling and out-rebounding the Sixers like crazy, and they haven't really fixed that problem. Now, they brought in Andre Drummond, who will help that problem on the back end, but in that starting lineup, it's like, who are you going to have that's going to be able to help that out? I'm not sure right now. They will keep a roster spot open and maybe fix that problem later on in the season, but as of right now, I think those 5 will be the starting 5 come season opener. And then off the bench, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon in the backcourt. Ricky Council, who just had a tremendous, tremendous summer league, I think is in line for a lot more minutes and a much bigger role this season. You got KJ Martin, who the Sixers brought back this season, slotted in at the backup 4. And then, of course, the big boy, Andre Drummond, back in Philly, men in that backup 5 position. Now, it's going to be a question here. Who's going to be the true backup 1? Who's going to get the majority of the minutes at that spot when Tyrese Maxey comes off the floor? Even maybe mixing in a little bit with Tyrese Maxey, we'll see. Is it going to be Kyle Lowry? Is it going to be Reggie Jackson? Personally, I think it's going to be Kyle Lowry. I think it just makes more sense with, his familiarity with the Sixers, and we saw him play fairly well last year when they picked him up and then went into the postseason. He was steady, and he provides a little more, I feel, of, that veteran point guard leadership, get guys where they need to be. Now, Reggie Jackson still was a solid piece for the Denver Nuggets these past couple of years, like a key piece for their championship run. And I think, he can maybe do a little more off the dribble, a little more scoring than Kyle Lowry. But I think Reggie Jackson was more just insurance to have another guy in that backcourt in case Kyle Lowry needs to take nights off as he gets older, injury concerns and all that. So I do think Kyle Lowry is your main backup point guard, but Reggie Jackson will for sure rotate in there. And then you got the 2 rookies who we have not talked about yet, Jared McCain and Adem Bona. Look, I'm not sure either of them are really going to be getting too many minutes here as we start off the season. Nick Nurse is notorious for not playing his young guys, especially rookies. So, I'm not too sure we're going to see a whole lot of Jared McCain or Adem Bona, although both of them, had interesting summer leagues that we'll get to here a little bit later on. But don't expect to see, in my opinion, too much of Jared McCain or Adem Bona as we start the season. Now, as the season moves on, Joel Embiid can miss some games. We could see more Adem Bona, and maybe Jared McCain gets a little more comfortable with his shot and was able to find some minutes in the rotation. But as of right now, would not really expect them to be any of the first really 10 guys going into games for the 76ers. So I told you my ideal starting 5, what I think will and should be the starting 5 for the Sixers. But I want to hear from y'all. I'm very curious because a lot of Sixers fans have different opinions on who should be starting, especially at that 4 spot for the Sixers. So let me know. Drop your ideal starting 5 this season down in the comments section. Now, coming up, we're going to look at some other lineup combinations. We went through the starting 5, went through the first 5 that I think are going to be coming off the bench. But now we're going to look at, some other options, some other rotations, and player combinations that Nick Nurse could roll out there this season for the 76ers. But first, guys, got to tell you about this great deal from our friends over at Fanatics. Paul George jerseys are available now. Rocking the number 8, PG8, 8-ball PG, whatever you want to call them, man. Jerseys are available. He just talked to media in Philadelphia the other day, was rocking that fresh jersey. And I'll tell you what, I'm very excited to see him on the court this year for the Sixers. I'm probably going to be getting myself a Paul George jersey here. I love the look of that blue with that number 8. You can get it in white as well. So don't wait, because they're going to be hot. I'm telling you. People are going to want them. So get yours before they sell it. Again, you can go to chatsports.com/Paul George. I'm going to have that in the comments section and the description of this video. One more time, that's chatsports.com/Paul George. Get your PG jerseys today. All right, so now let's look at some of these other lineup combinations. And, Nick Nurse going to have a lot to work with, a lot to tinker with here this upcoming season, because there are so many new bodies and guys that just haven't played together yet. So let's get into a lineup that I think could be interesting. And some people might say this should be the starting lineup. But I think if you're looking for a lineup with the best spacing you could possibly have on this team surrounding Embiid, Maxey, Paul George, I think you still have Kenyon Martin in there, because he can be a reliable catch-and-shoot guy. He has been in the past for the Miami Heat. But then I think you insert Eric Gordon in here for Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre, last season, as great of a season as he had, and as tremendous as he was, especially in the playoffs for the Sixers, an inconsistent three-point shooter. He can get hot and he has his moments, but a lot of times just has an open shot in the corner above the break and just isn't really able to knock it down and not super consistent with it. Whereas Eric Gordon, I mean, look at these three-point numbers. The last 3 years in particular, well, the minutes are going down. He's getting older and not quite the volume scorer he maybe once was. He's still able to knock down 37+% of his threes every single season over the last 3 years. So if you're really looking for a lineup where you have the maximum spacing you can have, you need a three at the end of a game, I could see the Sixers going in and putting Eric Gordon in that role, taking Kelly Oubre off the court, just to, again, fill out that spacing around Joel Embiid. Now, I will say, I would love if Jared McCain is able to take that role over from Eric Gordon and be that guy that can come in when you really need that spacing, that three-point shot-making ability. Unfortunately, I just don't see that happening as the season starts. But I would love, as the season goes along, he gets some confidence in that shot, which we did not see in the Summer League, because I think he just offers more than Eric Gordon does in terms of being able to have the ball in his hands. He's obviously much, much younger than Eric Gordon. Should be a little bit better on the defensive end. Eric Gordon still should be reliable, but it would be great to see McCain step up and fill that role for the 76ers. Now, speaking of Jared McCain, what about a lineup with some of the young guys in here? I think this could be a very fun and exciting lineup where you have Maxey at the 1, Jared McCain at the 2, Ricky Council inserted there at the forward spot, along with Paul George and Joel Embiid, of course. And man, this might be wishful thinking, but it would be so exciting to see a lineup where you have Ricky Council coming off a tremendous summer league, getting more minutes now for the Sixers, and he's really producing. And you have Jared McCain, who, after what was a rough summer league, I mean, you take a look at these numbers, just 28% from the field, 25% from three, obviously not ideal. But if you can get these two guys to play at a high level, this might be the highest ceiling lineup you can have. Again, wishful thinking, but it would be very exciting to see these two guys succeed and be able, to play some meaningful minutes for the Sixers this upcoming season, especially McCain, because I think he's going to have, a little bit of a struggle at first to get on the court. Now, this here is a lineup that Sixers fans have been floating out on social media, running a big lineup of Maxey, Oubre, Paul George, and then Andre Drummond and Joel Embiid together. And I get where some Sixers fans are coming from. They want to fix the rebounding issue, and they think that just inserting Drummond into that 4 spot, or maybe you haven't beat the 4, whatever you want to do with that, would help. Look, I'm not a fan of the Drummond and Embiid lineups. This isn't NBA 2K, guys. You can't just throw 2 bigs in there and think it's going to work. It doesn't work like that in real life. You need good fit on the court. And let me tell you, the spacing with Andre Drummond and Joel Embiid, it just simply wouldn't work. I get Embiid, can play in the perimeter and gets his in the mid-range, the high post, but you don't want Andre Drummond sitting in the paint, clogging all that up. And I also don't think it's ideal to have either one of them guarding 4s and wings out in the perimeter. So as much as, I want to say it could help the rebounding issue the Sixers have had, I think there's other ways to address that issue than just simply inserting Andre Drummond into the starting lineup. So that's going to be a no for me. And I doubt they roll out that lineup, maybe occasionally in spots, very limited spots. But Drummond and Embiid in the court at the same time, I honestly hope we don't see it a single minute this upcoming season. And now, one last lineup that I wanted to throw out there because I think this could be a very fun lineup. And of course, we have to talk about lineups without Joel Embiid as well because he's bound to miss some time. Daryl Morey and Nick Nurse said he's not going to play many, if at all, back-to-backs this season. So I do expect to see a lot of course, Andre Drummond. But if you want to run an athletic lineup that can get up and down the court and run in transition and really put up a lot of points and just play fast, this lineup of Tyrese Maxey, Ricky Council, Paul George, KJ Martin, and Adem Bona could be very, very exciting. And of course, you could have Andre Drummond in there. And I'm sure if Embiid misses games, Drummond will be the starter. But I think from what we saw from Adem Bona in the Summer League, he can be a reliable backup center almost right away. I want to say now he does have to get his fouling issues under control because that was an issue for him at UCLA, and it was a big issue for him in the Summer League. You get 10 fouls in Summer League, and he was using all of them. I'll tell you that. But 5.7 points, 5.2 rebounds. But look at that, 2.6 blocks a game in the Summer League. He flashed a lot of the defensive potential that I think a lot of us knew and hoped he had coming out of UCLA. So I think he has, a little bit more upside on that end than we might have initially thought. And again, if you want to run an athletic lineup, I mean, we saw him. He can jump. He's got that vertical, and he plays hard, man. That was one of the things we talked about coming out of UCLA on the scouting report. This man hustles. He's got toughness. He's got grit, and he'll play. So if Embiid does go down and you need to start Andre Drummond in spots, that then forces you to bring Adem Bona in. I think an athletic lineup with him in there could be at least exciting to watch because they're going to play fast. They're going to run up and down that court, and it could just be really fun to see. All right, that's 5 lineups right there, maybe 6 actually, that I could see the Sixers using. Just wanted to explore some different options here as we head into the season. I want to ask you guys this, though. What do you think? Over, under 52.5 wins for the Sixers this season. That's about the line that I've seen on several different sports books for them this upcoming season. Puts them about right in line with the New York Knicks. Obviously, Celtics are a little bit higher than that, but what do you think? 52.5 wins. Will they go over that? Maybe grab the 2 seed. Under, maybe think they're more of a 3 seed. I'm going over, but you let me know what you think in the comment section right now. All right, thanks for watching, guys. That's going to do it for today's video here on 76ers. Now, again, just wanted to explore the 76ers roster and go through a few lineups that I think we could see, what the starting lineup should be, and just different ways we could see a different combination of players down on the court. Appreciate you watching. If you haven't yet, hit that sub button. Again, we got to prove the Heat wrong. Do not let them be right that we can't pick up 19K. Again, we need about 37 subs in this video, so let's try to get that here today. Hit that thumbs up icon, and we'll see you next time here on 76ers Now.